Hi, I'm Mandy Brown, and I was honored to be chosen as Van Alstyne Middle School's Teacher of the Year last year. And I think if I were going to share something, I would share that one of the most valuable things that I do in my classroom is I try to really be present with my kids. Whether they're doing a warm-up or they're doing stations, I think walking around, interacting with them lets them know that what they're doing is valuable. And it helps me catch, like if they make a silly mistake or they're off track, it helps me know which kids that is to put them back on track. And it also gives me the opportunity to really push those higher level thinking skills, asking questions of the kids, asking them to explain their thinking.
Hi, I am Jana Tinsley. I was the campus Teacher of the Year for Van Alstyne High School last year. And I'm here with my Ready Set Teach students that are planning to be teachers, and so we had a little conversation about what makes you a good teacher. We came up with the things that they like about me is the relationship that I can develop with my students, making hands-on activities that they can really get into them, and also making them be real-world activities.
Hello Panther family, this is Brent Wood at Sanford Elementary in my new lovely music room. When Mr. Coleman asked me to speak to you guys, I thought, what in the world can I possibly say to these talented teachers in VAISD that they don't already know? So after some consideration, I decided that I would like to touch on the subject of student involvement and keeping your students engaged in the classroom. So I am going to extend a challenge to each and every one of you. That challenge is for you to take some time during a lesson or two and record yourself teaching. I promise that you are going to come across some things that will allow you to give yourself some tips on your teaching and keeping your students engaged. One of the things that I always notice when I look at recordings of myself teaching is my pacing. So that's something that I really have to pay special attention to. I tend to be a little more laid back, a little slower in my approach, and in the elementary music classroom, that does not cut it. So I have to channel my Ella every now and then and be a little more animated, a little more energetic. That may not be the case for you, but I'm sure you'll notice some things that you can improve on in your teaching that will allow you to keep your students a little more engaged. I'm also going to encourage you, as I look around my room here, I'm kind of looking at the decor that I have on the walls. I'm going to encourage you to take a look at your room too. If your walls are covered from floor to ceiling, and I'm probably going to get in a little trouble for my elementary teachers on this one, that may really be hindering your students from learning and concentrating as fully as they are able to. That can be really distracting to some students. So take a look at those things. See if maybe that is something that's overstimulating for them or that can be a distraction for them during your lesson. Also, there's so many things in our lessons that are repetition that we teach on almost a daily basis. I am going to encourage you to find new ways to teach those ordinary ideas. I have seen the creativity in this school district all the way from the elementary campuses up to the high school campuses, and you guys are rock stars at that. So I am really going to challenge you again to present those ideas in new and creative ways. Also, as we're all beginning the new school year, I know that we are really stressing the importance of expectations and procedures in our classroom. Setting up those expectations in the classroom up front from the very beginning, day one, is really, really important in creating an atmosphere in which students feel comfortable and safe while participating during your lessons. I would practice and review these procedures and expectations as often as needed. I've even done it mid-year. I've done it towards the end of the year. So if you see that students are lacking or not fulfilling what your expectations are for them in your classroom, reiterate those expectations and procedures for them. I expect my students to do their very best and participate when they're in my classroom. We as educators, though, need to remember that everyone's best looks different. So we need to be able to identify in each individual what their best is. And how do we do that? We do that by building relationships with our kids. Relationships are going to be something that will make your room run smoother as far as classroom management goes. Relationships are not only going to enrich your life, they're going to enrich your students' lives and their learning experiences. It's going to give you as an educator great insight into that student's personality, their learning style, their comfort zone, and the list goes on and on. So get out there, get creative, and get to know your students, and have a wonderful year.